And welcome to our inaugural segment of In the Know. Here at 25 News, we want to make sure that you are staying in the know on topics that could be affecting you locally, nationally, or on a global scale. So today we are tackling the topic of taxes, and that April 18th deadline is just around the corner. Joining us today to answer some of your burning tax questions, we have Phil Cooper, the founder of 210 Financial and a local expert in finance. Welcome, Phil.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us this
Thanks for
afternoon.
having me today.
Of course, of course. So tax day is right around the corner, quickly approaching.
Yep.
I do want to make note that, so the deadline is April 18th.
It is.
Correct.
It's a little different. It's a little extended this year. Normally, April 15th is what we know as tax day.
Right.
This year, it's on a Tuesday, and it's April 18th, so you don't want to miss that day.
That's right, and that is because the 15th falls on a Saturday,
Correct.
and then the following weekday, Monday the 17th, is Emancipation Day.
You got it.
All right.
Exactly right.
All right. So
Good
the
job.
18th.
Yeah.
Thank you. I did my homework. All right. So let's talk about taxes now.
Yeah.
So how can someone reduce their tax bill and the amount of money that they owe?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot of ways you can go about that. Number one is you want to know what your deductions should be, if you have any deductions. So good record keeping is critical to this process.
Right.
So go back to last year and say, okay, what did I do last year? How much money did I make? Did I give any money to charitable organizations? Do I have any medical deductions? Do I have children that live in my home? Know what the rules are, first and foremost, and then go back and make sure you have good records. And then know the rules and apply those rules to make sure that you're taking every deduction that's legally allowed by the IRS limitations.
Right, right. And speaking of deductions, what type of expenses can be deducted? Medical expenses, that's one?
Well, that's a big one right now because we have an aging population. America has an aging population. So medical deductions could potentially be something you could reduce off of your tax burden. But there's some limitations to that. For example, the IRS allows you and I and every other American, every taxpayer to have something called a standard deduction. That's different for married people versus single people. It's different for different ages and so on. However, your standard deduction says the first so many dollars that come into your household on an annual basis are not taxable. Therefore, you can have a certain amount of income and pretty much be in a zero tax bracket. In order to reduce or to deduct off the medical expenses that you might have, you have to get above the standard deduction. So, for example, Aaron, married couple, maybe I have a $25,000 or $30,000 standard deduction. My medical expenses have to be higher than that. So if my medical expenses aren't higher than my standard deduction, I'm not able to write those off. So you need to know your situation. How old are you? Married, single? How many dollars in medical expenses you have? Then we can figure out whether they're deductible or not.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And what is the difference between a tax credit and a tax deduction?
Oh boy, that's a good one. Which one should I take? Do I have an option?
Let's go with a tax credit.
All right, tax credit. That's the best one because a tax credit says if there's a credit for something, that dollar amount, say there's a $1,000 tax credit, that's $1,000 of taxes that are just wiped off. It's gone, it's erased. A $1,000 deduction means it might just lower you from a 22% bracket to a 12% bracket. Well, I'm still paying 12% tax, it's not gone, where a credit's completely erased. So you need to know the rules on that too. Where are my credits at? Do I have maybe head of household, that's a credit, versus I gave some money to a charitable organization, that's a deduction. We need to know the difference, but usually speaking, a credit is better.
Okay, all right. So credit is better. We want the
credit is good. Yes.
All right. Well, lots of good information here, and of course, the tax deadline is quickly approaching.
Yes,
so people should hurry up and file those taxes.
I agree. And we do have a resource available if someone would like to have one. I've written a book, and in that book, there's an entire chapter on taxes. And it's available at our website, 210financial.com, and they're able to get it there.
Okay, 210financial.com.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Phil, for
you.
coming in this morning or this afternoon.
My pleasure.
And we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks so much. And of course, if you or someone you know would like to join us here on In the Know, maybe you're an expert on a topic here that we should be informed about, or maybe you know someone who is, go ahead to our website, 25newsnow.com, go to the Features tab and select In the Know, and then go ahead and submit an interview request. And we'll take a look at it, and we hope to see you here on our next segment of In the Know. We'll be right back. Stick with us.